All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Ed, if you don't know me. And welcome to the channel. Welcome to Monday Night Live. Excited to talk some credit cards and travel hacking tonight. If you're new to the channel, my channel is all about taking advantage of credit cards. Now, how can we use credit cards to travel for free? I was talking to some people, I think it was about a week ago, how I remember my wife and I were celebrating, I think it was our 5th anniversary, 5-year anniversary. And we're talking about things that were important to us. And one of the things that were important to us was travel. And at the time, we wanted to travel more than we were, but we really didn't have the resources to do it. And so I remember going online, I remember going to YouTube and literally searching how to travel for free. And I found the world of credit card hacking. Now, getting points based off credit cards is nothing new. Almost everybody I know does some form of that. And most people I know have one credit card, maybe two, and they get some points and they redeem it for cash back, and that's basically it. But when I found myself searching for how to travel for free on YouTube, I found that there was just a whole other layer of taking advantage of credit card points so that you can use them for free travel. And so there's a whole lot of YouTubers out there. There's a whole lot of websites. Points Guy is really popular, but these all are focused on how can we take advantage of travel? How can we travel for free? How can we use our points to get upgrades and everything like that? And so I kind of dove down that rabbit hole after our 5th anniversary. And so that was 2018. And at the time, I only had a few credit cards to my name, but I remember getting the Chase Sapphire Preferred in 2018, and that really started me down the journey that I'm at now. Now, between my wife and I think we are north of 30 cards between the two of us. Obviously, there's two. We're married, so we have two of us in the credit card game community. This is called a player 1 and player 2 strategy. And so we definitely employ that, meaning that when I get a card, I don't add my wife as an authorized user because that becomes a credit card on her credit. Instead, I would apply for the card and my wife would also apply for the same exact card independent of me. And why do we do that? Well, it allows each of us to have independent lines of credit, each of us to build our individual credit scores. And more importantly, each of us to earn things like welcome bonuses, which really just allow us to, really take a lot of ground when it comes to points. I was talking to someone yesterday about how to do all this, and I found myself wondering how many points I have accumulated across all of my various ecosystems. And so I started going through the different cards we have, the different places that we have various points. And, it's things like Chase Bank, Citibank, United, American Airlines, JetBlue, Marriott, IHG, Hyatt, Southwest, Capital One. Oh, I don't have Capital One on here. I need to add that. And I found that, I don't know how many I have, but I'm going to estimate here. I found that presently my wife and I are sitting at around 1.3 million points across all of our ecosystems. Some of the largest by far the largest ecosystem that we have points in is Chase. Between the two of us, we're sitting probably around 661,000 points. And we're just trying to figure out where we want to go next. My goal is not necessarily to hoard points. My goal is not necessarily just to accumulate them without purpose. I want to use it for free travel. I want to make sure that we can take advantage and do some things that we never would have got to do otherwise. Actually, behind me, I got my background of the day. I feel like someone could guess this. We only got a few people watching right now, but if you're watching right now and you know where this is, drop it in the comments. I feel like You could at least guess the state. There are not many states that look like this. It is in the United States, but we'll see if anyone comments on that in a second. But the trip behind me was because I was, I think, in 2020. Even with the COVID shutdowns, there was still some traveling going on at the time, and my wife and I were able to use our Southwest Companion Pass at the time to fly to this state. Southwest Companion Pass, if you don't know, is one of the most incredible perks you can get in the points and miles game. It is Arizona. It is Arizona. Do you know where in Arizona? We were able to use the Southwest Companion Pass to fly there, meaning I paid for my flight and Katie got to fly free. And we did that so much in 2020. We went to Dallas. We went to Cancun that year. We took, I think, multiple trips to Florida. And we took this trip to Arizona. We went to the Grand Canyon, and then we traveled south to this area of Arizona. And come on, Mike, if you're in the chat, where's that at? Where are the Red Rocks at? As you Google Red Rocks, Arizona. It is Sedona. The answer was Sedona. Sedona, Arizona. But that was through Southwest. Where was I? Oh, talking about our total amount of points. Yeah, Sedona. Look at that. Did you say that before or after I said it? Because you're correct. You are correct. All right, talking total amount of points. I was saying Chase is by far the biggest ecosystem that we are a part of. Between my wife and I, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 different cards between the two of us. Thank you for being honest. We have 9 different cards between the two of us that earn Chase Ultimate Rewards points. And this is one of the great things about Chase. I did a whole video on why you should start with Chase. If you're new to the credit card game, you can go check that out on my channel. But having multiple cards to pool points for Ultimate Reward points, that's where like a lot of this compounds, because one individual card might not be able to get you this amount of points, but getting multiple cards, earning multiple bonuses, that's what's going to helpful. A lot of questions I get asked: does this help or hurt your credit score? Did a whole video on this. Go check it out about how to build your credit score using credit cards. I want to tell you, if you practice fiscal responsibility, it helps. If you use credit cards poorly, it's going to hurt it. But on this channel, we love to use credit cards wisely. I like to say, use your credit cards like a debit card. Use your credit cards like a debit card. So if you have the money, put that purchase on a credit card, be able to pay it off right away. I also chose, side note, I chose this Arizona shot for Arizona Diamondbacks. Go Diamondbacks. Got my red shirt on. Let's go. Snakes alive. Let's go. My Rays aren't in it anymore. So yeah. Let's go Diamondbacks. The reason I bring up, well, a few things. The reason I bring up my Chase points is because right now we're going to spend a little bit of time doing this. I'm trying to use my Chase points to get my wife and I to go back to Europe. I got a lot of ways that I can make this happen. And so I'm just going to explore some of the ways that I'm looking on how to use my Chase points on how to get us to Europe for free. So if you're interested in knowing how to use points to go to Europe, today's going to be a good stream for you. But the other thing that I like to do every single time I do these is let's check out Reddit. So I love to go to Reddit and see like what's trending on the credit card subreddit. So let me share my screen here. If you're not on Reddit, not on the credit card subreddit, I highly recommend doing it. There's so much gold in this subreddit. A lot of people in this community that are trying to do things well. But I saw two things near the top here. One, the number one thing, all credit cards are 0% APR if you pay your statement balances in full. I love this. I love this. I did a whole video on some best practices when it comes to credit cards. And the number one thing you can do is practice good fiscal responsibility. That means paying off your statement balances in full. If you do this, this is the same thing as saying use your credit card like a debit card. If you do this, then technically, yeah, all credit cards are 0% APR because you're never going to pay any interest. So what doesn't matter what APR they give you, 22, 23, 27, 30, it literally does not matter because you're going to pay off your credit card on time every time. So that's really great. But then there was this other one. Let's see, what was it? The third ranked over the last week, posted 1 day ago. Credit cards are not for emergencies. I just thought this was so good. He says that for purchases you have money for, you would be able to pay for it in cash. Emergency funds are for emergencies. If you don't have an emergency fund, our priority should be in getting one in place. He says, I've seen a lot of posts on here lately about individuals looking to acquire a credit card to use for emergency situations. I've heard people say things like their parents said they don't use credit cards only for emergencies. I think this gives the wrong impression that a credit card should be plan A when they run into a bind, when that's actually a terrible idea. I love this post. I love this post specifically because I think there's a lot of people that watch this channel that the very first step you need to do is learn self-discipline when it comes to your finances. And if you don't have a savings, like an emergency fund savings, I think it's really, man, this is one of Dave Ramsey's sweet spot. I'm fine with Dave Ramsey. How much should you have for emergency fund? Typically, you're going to see 3 to 6 months is the standard best practice. So whatever 3 to 6 months of your expenses would be, that's what you need to do. Ooh, what up, Josh? Josh, you filming your podcast tonight? Hey, Josh, if you're in the chat right now, drop the name of your podcast in the comments and I'll give it a shout out. Credit cards are not for emergencies because you're going to spend it on an emergency and then you're going to end up paying a ton of interest. Typically, people use credit cards for emergencies because they're not planning ahead enough. You want 3 to 6 months of expenses. That's not easy to do. Typically, you got to build that up over time. But you just got to run some numbers, figure out what are your mandatory expenses. Like if you lost your job right now or, whatever the case may be, what are your mandatory expenses for 3 to 6 months? Add that up and then decide how am I going to get that amount of money set aside. So if an emergency comes up, I have that set aside. Like I just think, even though we're talking about credit cards and travel hacking and how to do this all for free, this is like one of the main things that I think every single person needs to do to practice financial, fiscal responsibility. Who needs a name with PB and J? I love it. I love it. Go check out podcasts wherever you listen to your podcast. This is my friend Josh. Him and my friend Brandon do a great podcast. Nothing to do with finances and fiscal responsibility, but maybe they'll have me on and we can talk about that. But I just thought this was so good. A really good place to start tonight, especially if you're new to the channel, you're new to learning about credit cards and travel hacking. These are two really good posts. Pay your statement balances in full monthly and make sure you have an emergency savings. Do not use credit cards for emergencies. Just really, really fantastic advice. Some other things on Reddit I saw. What is your favorite card? This is the number 2 thing on Reddit. It says Saver One, Chase Freedom Flex, Amex Green, free Uber One, 10% off Uber Eats is delightful. PayPal is more useful than I realized in Q4. So if you're not familiar with the Chase Freedom Flex, they have rotating categories, and I think he's saying PayPal is one of them. I haven't scanned this prior to getting on, so this is live reaction to Reddit. Fidelity, Visa, 2% unlimited, everything, no annual fee, no foreign transaction fees. Solid. Amex Gold, Man, Amex Gold, if you are spending the most of your spending on grocery stores and eating out, I mean, Amex Gold is fantastic, but I think there is something to be said around that $250 annual fee. Even though it's going to give you, what is it, 4% back on groceries and 4% back on eating out, there are cards that are going to give you 3x back on those with no annual fees. And so I like the Amex Gold, but like I don't love it. I like it, I don't love it. And a lot of people love it. But there's not a big difference between 3% cash back and 4% cash back. There's just not. I mean, you can literally run the numbers, right? 10,000 times 0.03 is 300, 4 is 400. So, you're talking three on $10,000, $300 cash back versus $400 cash back. I mean, that's $100. I guess it's not nothing, but you're paying a $250 annual fee to get the 4X if you're on the Amex Gold. So like, you need to make sure that you're covering that gap in your spend in order to get it. And I just think, I don't know, that's, people aren't going to do that. So, that's why the Amex Gold is nice, but it's not like great. The Logix Federal Credit Unit, 3% Anywhere card in 8 states. Yeah, you have to put $100,000 there. I don't got $100,000. Alliant Visa Signature, 2.5% everything. That's cool. Not familiar with that. Alliant Credit Union. Most credit unions, you have to belong to the credit union in order to get their cards. So like, that's obviously going to be a limitation. Yeah, that's cool. You're probably not going to put 10,000 on your first 10,000 of qualifying eligible purchases. Is that per billing cycle? Is that per year? Is that like overall on the card? I don't want to spend a lot of time looking at this. I don't really care that much. If you are watching, got a comment on this, your favorite card, or you got a question, let me know. City Custom Cash, great card. Saver One, great card. Discover It, first year, yep, great card. Get double the cash back in the first year. Blue Cash Preferred, Amex, great card. Yeah. I mean, there's so many options, and the best card, whatever, is going to totally depend on your situation. Amex Blue Cash every day. Talk about this all the time. I think, yep, I have it in the bottom of my ticker. 3% back on gas, groceries, online shopping, Walmart online. Add your Blue Cash every day to your Walmart app and pay with the QR code at checkout. It counts as an online purchase. What? Whoa. That's crazy. I did not know that. All right. This is new to me. See, this is why we get on here, because I'm learning something. Hopefully you're learning something. Walmart, a lot of people are looking for a good card to use for the big box stores, Walmart, Target, Sam's Club, Costco, things like that. Some of those places have branded cards that you can use, but they're just not great for everywhere else. So it's like hard. It'd be great to have a card that you're using regularly in another way that you can also use. So this guy's saying, if you take your Blue Cash every day, because it gets 3% back at Walmart for Walmart online, add it to your Walmart app, use the QR code to scan at checkout if you're in store, and that's going to count as an online purchase. That's wild. I use Venmo, Visa for 3%, Walmart and Costco and other groceries. I'm going to have to try this. My wife is the one that goes to Walmart, but we're definitely going to try that. And I'll report back. I need to write this down so I can try that. If my wife is watching, make a note of that. Blue Cash every day. I have the Discover card for about 3 years. The cashback the first year was great, but now I'm looking for something that would be better. What type of stuff should I be looking for? Yeah, I mean, I did a whole video on why I think Chase is a really good next step, a really good starting point for anybody getting into the credit card game. And right when you come to Chase credit cards, those are most popular cards. These are the 3 you want to look at. But you want to make sure that you're getting more than cash back. And so the very first one I'm going to point you to is the Chase Sapphire Preferred, because the Chase Sapphire Preferred gets you access to their transfer partners. That's huge. If you start with like the Chase Freedom Unlimited here, which is a great card, love this card, but I would get it second after the Chase Sapphire Preferred, because if you get this, you're going to get $200 cash back, and you're not going to be able to use it for travel redemptions. If you're good with cash back, that's good. This one has no annual fee, unlimited 1.5% cash back on everything. Right now you get 5% back on gas and groceries in the first year, which is awesome. I'm sure you spend a lot on gas and groceries. So this is a really, really awesome card to have. But team travel here on this channel, and so I love using points to redeem for travel. I don't just want cash back, I want to redeem for travel. And so in order to do that, you need a Chase card that has access to the travel partners and of their personal cards. That's going to be the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Chase Sapphire Reserve. In between the two, Chase Sapphire Preferred is my pick. Only a $95 annual fee. You get 3x on dining, 2x on travel. You get 60,000 bonus. I did see, this is a hot tip, I did see that some people on Reddit are saying that there's some new mailers going out for 80,000 point bonus offers on the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Typically, I'm not saying always, typically, whenever mailers start going out for 80,000 point offers, it's just a little bit after that you'll start seeing that show up in like people's referral bonuses, and then it becomes a public offer. So if you're really interested in a Chase Sapphire Preferred, I might suggest maybe waiting like over the next month and just see if the 80,000 point offer comes back, because that would be great. That'll be great if you can get an extra 20,000 points. But this 100% would be my first, the next card I would go, especially if you had the Discover card for about 3 years. If you've been paying that off regularly, your credit's probably fine. Your credit's probably decent. If you're not sure really what your credit is, the Discover app can probably tell you what your FICO score is. If it doesn't, I'm almost 99% sure it does. You can get like on Credit Karma, make a free account, find out. But yeah, Chase Sapphire Preferred is probably where I'd start. And then it's choose your own adventure, because you can go a lot of different directions with Chase. But these two are really great cards, no annual fee. This $200 bonus, once you have the Chase Sapphire Preferred and you are earning points and have access to their travel partners, this $200 bonus actually comes to you in the form of points. It comes in 20,000 points. So 20,000 points for a no annual fee card. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. You get this card and you use it on categories. So like use this one on travel and dining, but use this one on everything else, to get that 1.5 cash back. These points can pool, and then you can use them on outsized value redemptions, right? Transfer out to Hyatt, transfer out to Southwest. They have a ton of different transfer partners, and take advantage of that. But yeah, check out my video on Start with Chase. I think it's a really good place to start. Do you have a referral code for the Chase card? For the Sapphire Preferred, I do. And I can grab it and throw it in the comments. But again, I would say if you're interested in the Chase Sapphire Preferred, I'd wait. I'd give it a month. Let's see if that 80,000 point offer comes back, because there's some writing on the wall that it might be. And man, it stinks whenever you pull the trigger on a card and then the welcome bonus jumps, which can happen even if you wait a month and then it doesn't come and you apply. It could happen 5 weeks from now. But I think the writing's on the wall that it's coming back. So I'd probably wait a second, but I can throw a referral code in the comments. But yeah, that's where I'd go. After that, again, choose your own adventure. Maybe a Southwest card if you fly Southwest a lot. The business cards are fantastic if you have any small business things going on. The Hyatt, I really like the Hyatt card. The Prime Visa and Chase is really solid, especially if you shop at Amazon a lot. It gets you 5% back on Amazon. Yeah, so they have a lot of really good options. That's probably where I'd start, Josh. Okay, so he's talking about Blue Cash every day. Same for Kroger stores and subsidiaries. Pay in store with Kroger Pay with your QR card and will be online. Oh, for the CSP, for the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Wow, did not know that. You also get 2x and 4x for fuel points. Wow. Okay. That's new. I did not know that. So going back to why he brought this up was this comment about add the Blue Cash every day to your Walmart app. So I don't know if you have that, but I love the Blue Cash every day. It's a really solid card, especially, and if you shop at Walmart a lot, it seems like that could be something to do. Let me just scan this, see if anybody other Chase Freedom Unlimited. We just talked about that. People love this card. I think I talked about this last week. The Redstone Federal Credit Union, 5% restaurants, gas, 3% groceries. But again, it's a bit of a process to apply everything and have to join a qualifying group for free join credit union, provide a pay stub, driver's license, social security card. Yeah, I mean you got to become part of the credit union to get this. But yeah, I mean this is like every category you could ever want fitting into one card. Wholesale clubs, right? That's Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, utilities, phone, streaming services, and then I mean, this is like need to keep $5 in the bank. This is like everything wrapped up in one thing with this. It's going to be cash back, which is fine if you're taking cash back. That's awesome. But yeah, this guy, people talk about this a lot too. Why is this card not mentioned much? Just because it's a little obscure. It's like, I think people like to think that YouTubers are only going to promote cards that I've talked about this before, promote cards that like they get referral bonuses on or something. It's like, nah, I mean, if there's a great card, I'll tell you about it. And yeah, if you want to sign up for this credit union, if you want like a one card cashback setup, maybe this is for you. But you got to join the Redstone Federal Credit Union. Altitude, US Bank. Cool. I think that's probably good for here. And I thought this was curious. How often use a sock drawer card to prevent account closure? Okay, so if you're not sure what a sock drawer card, I talk about this a lot. And, I was just giving the example of these Chase cards. So my Chase Freedom Flex, I got the Freedom Flex, I got the bonus. I don't really use the Freedom Flex, even with the rotating categories. And so I throw it in my sock drawer, meaning I put it in my sock drawer, I put it in a safe. I don't really use it. I have, I know it's there if I need it, but I'm just not really spending on it. So this guy on Reddit is saying, how often do you use those cards so that they stay active and the bank doesn't shut that line of credit down, which can hurt your credit score if you get a line of credit shut down? He says, I have something like 15 cards at the moment. I keep zero balances on. I want to keep you low utilization. I got a letter from one of those last week about how it's been a while. It hasn't been used in a while, and the account will close in 30 days if I don't use it by then. So I charge a couple $100 to it on my last Amazon order and toss it right back in the safe. I know every company is different, but there's a general rule of thumb as how often the card should be used. I was running off the wait until the letter comes idea for a while, but then I had Citibank and Amex both close one of my accounts from non-use with zero warning. And losing that $25,000 off my total credit limit hurt a bit for a while. Yeah, that's a rough go. Depends on the lender. Use it once every 6 months should be sufficient. Yeah, I mean, that's a good rule of thumb. To be honest, I do it about once a year, and I haven't had any closed on me. So, between 6 months to a year, I would say try and use every card. Which can be annoying once you get up to, like, if your goal is to get where I'm at, where it's like 30 cards between my wife and I, that can be a little annoying, but it's fine. There's a lot of cards we have that we just naturally use all the time, even if I'm not using it regularly. Like my Southwest card, I know I'm going to fly with Southwest at least once a year. So I that's already taken care of. I only have a few cards, like my JetBlue card. I definitely have to remember to use my JetBlue card at least once a year to make sure that it stays open. It varies from bank to bank. Doctor of Credit has general timelines. Ooh, let's check this out. American Express will close after 12 to 13 months. Bank of America, 24 months. Barclays, 18 months or 2 years. Capital One can happen after several years. Chase, it's been inactive for a year and your card is expiring, or 2 years of inactivity, 25 months of inactivity. So this is a good article. I'm just gonna throw this in the comments if you're interested in reading this on your own. Here's some good things. Closure, all cards with no annual fees. Many will do it without giving you a warning. Yeah. So there you go. I put 50 cents on all used cards every few months. I add to my Amazon gift balance. Used purchase, never had an issue. This is extremely common. I'm glad that you brought this up. Super easy. If you have have your cards linked to Amazon, you can add them to your Amazon gift balance, just like Tampa Travel is suggesting here. And a lot of people do this, and it seems to work. It seems to trigger the purchase, and people don't really have a problem. So if you're like, man, it's going to take a lot of work for me to remember how to do this, keep them on your Amazon account, add them to your gift balance once a year. He's doing it every few months, but I think 6 months to a year is probably okay. Major cards using once every 6 months, once every 12. Always use a new card for at least one purchase in the first 50 days, for sure, because you're trying to hit a bonus. Activate a new card within 10 days of receiving it, for sure. Got to hit those bonuses, baby. So, yeah, very cool. Very cool. All right, what time is it? 8:41. All right, so I'm probably going to go until about 9 o'clock, so maybe about another 20 minutes or so. I want to spend a little bit of time. I started talking about this last week. Trying to get my wife and I to Europe. And I was sharing earlier, talking about how many points we have. We're sitting on probably over 650,000 Chase points between the two of us. And our goal is to try and do a Europe trip. I don't know, maybe sometime in 2024. We've been talking September, but there's still a lot to figure out. And so I've just been doing a lot of research. So I just wanted to kind of walk through a little bit of my thought process. I've done this before in researching other cards, but like I'm not like a savant. I'm not a genius. I just know how to use Google. So this is like the best thing that I can encourage you to do. And so what I'll often find myself, if I'm starting best point redemptions flights to Europe, I'll often start with just something like that in a Google search. And points guy, upgraded points, I mean, these are going to jump out right away. And this kind of can give you what websites do I need to check, right? Like it's not a perfect way to do it, but it's going to show you, look, maybe use British Airways, and it's going to tell you some of an article like this is going to give you some of the highlights around why this may or may not be a good deal. For British Airways, they always have some pretty crazy high surcharge fees. So this may or may not be the right option for you. But you can scroll down and see things like Iberia. This is how my wife and I got to Europe last time we went. We used Iberia. We booked it through American Airlines website because they're a travel partner. we were able to book through Iberia. But I was on Iberia's website. Give me 1 second. I was on Iberia's website looking just recently, and you can find really great deals on Iberia, and it doesn't get talked about enough, but it's a travel partner of Chase. So if you're someone that's really interested in getting Chase cards, this could be an option. So like they fly direct to Madrid. They're out of Madrid. They're out of Spain. So we're going to go one way. We want to pay with Avios, which is their miles. And I was looking in September, which we can head there. And I'm checking out premium cabins because I'm trying to fly business class. If you are okay not flying business class, I mean, you're going to find some really phenomenal redemptions. But let's just check out like what jumps up just from a quick Google search. When my wife and I flew Iberia, we again booked it through American Airlines, and it was 57,500 points for the flights that we booked. Here you can do this is New York to Madrid, 20,000 in economy, right? So I like this little, here, look at this, 50,000 Avios points to fly business class Iberia to Madrid. This is a 7-hour, 25-minute flight. These are lay down seats. The surcharges about $115. Like, that's not bad, right? And so we were just talking about Chase, right? Looking at the Chase Sapphire Preferred. The bonus right now was 60,000 points. So I'm not necessarily saying like this might, if you got 60,000 points, are you taking a one-way business class flight to Europe? Are you going to book you and your significant other 2 economy seats, right? I mean, this is the type of redemptions you can get versus using, if you use 20,000 Chase points and redeem that for cash back, that would be $200. Just to kind of put some in perspective here, that'd be roughly worth $200 cash back. Instead, let's just see, this is September 3rd. Let's turn this off. Let's see what this costs. They're not even showing the economy. Come on. Oh, I think because I picked. I'm silly. So you could take 20,000 Chase points, redeem it for $200 cash back, or transfer that to Iberia and book a $759 economy flight one way. So when I say I want to transfer out my points to travel partners, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I do not look down on anybody that's team cashback. If that's what works for you, that's great. But I would rather transfer out to Iberia and, do this $759. There's some other option. The flexible $890. Actually, when you book with points, you basically get their top tier. So this is an $890 seat. And we saw this one for 50,000 points, $2,400. You can quickly do some math there of 2432 minus, what was it, like $115, 2317 divided by 50,000 points times 100. You're looking at 4.6 cents per point value here. I mean, that's phenomenal. Your typical Chase points are worth 1 cent per point. This is 4.6 times better redemption when you transfer it out to redeem for travel. Is this flight actually worth $2,432? Maybe, maybe not. The point is, I'm not even going to pay that. I'm going to get that for free based on a credit card that I'm putting money I'm going to spend anyways on that card. I'm getting these free points. I'm going to get a free business class flight out of it. So this is the type of thing that, I'm looking at. So I actually, and point reward availability changes all the time, but Kate, I don't know if my wife is on here. Are you trying to fly Iberia again? This is a great deal. 50,000. Sometimes though, let's see if we can find this right now. Can we do a monthly view? Sometimes there doesn't work. Any of these days that say 17,000, you go check these out if you get lucky. Can a premium economy for 25? Look at through some of the other dates. If you get lucky, you might be able to find a business class flight on a day where the economy, come on, y'all. 34,000 Avios points to fly business class. That's insane. Still $115 surcharge. Oh my gosh. It was like 2,300 divided by 34,000. Look at this. So if a typical point is worth 1 cent per point back, this is 6.7 times better redemption than that. My wife and I loved Iberia. Like, we had a fantastic time. So I saw a little bit of mixed reviews before we actually flew it. I think I saw like even a blog post on PointsGuy that wasn't great. We had a fantastic experience. I would definitely fly it again. 2 seats left. Katie, you watching? Trying to fly Iberia right now? What day is that? The 26th. Oh, you know what? We can't do that because then we're running into my son's birthday. Man. All right, so it's not going to work. But who's trying to go to Europe? Who's trying to go to Europe? Here's a fantastic option. Let's go back to that blog I was looking at. Premium economy in Iberia. What did we just see? That for like 25,000 points. So that can be a really good economy. American Airlines. You can get 36,000 one way. Business class on Air France. Here's one that I just recently found. And the thing about like this article is it's saying, hey, book it through Virgin Atlantic. So let me remove this for a second, see if I can log into Virgin Atlantic. Their website was having a little bit of issues earlier when I was trying to log in. Yeah, man, it's giving me an error. So Virgin Atlantic, I ended up finding, where can I do this? This is just yesterday. I found flights for, I just said Iberia was what, like 50,000? I found it for 117,000 points plus 572 surcharge fee. That's for two people. So what's that break down to? 117 divided by 2, 58. I don't know, something like that. 58,000 points. So a little bit more expensive than Iberia. Also a little bit more expensive on the surcharge fees. I saw for north of $250 per person for the fees. But guys, current Chase transfer bonuses. Right now, Chase has a 30% transfer bonus when you transfer points from Chase to Virgin Atlantic. So when I'm saying for my wife and I to fly, it would be 117,000 points. I don't need to actually transfer that many points. I don't know how you use ChatGPT, but I use it to do math equations for me to do point redemptions. So let me see here. I love this. Hold on. Look at this. 117,000. Solve this equation. Equals y plus y times 30%. Solve for y. The answer was 90,000. So actually, what I ended up finding out is for 90,000 points total, or 45,000 each, we could fly Air France business class, which is cheaper than what I just showed you on Iberia. So taking advantage of a transfer bonus of 30%. This is available until November 15th. We can get there one way, about 45,000 points, with a little bit higher of a surcharge. Oh man. And we're gonna probably land here. I think I showed this last week, but if you premium economy on Air France is a really good way to fly. Economy on KLM, also booking through Virgin Atlantic. Star Alliance, you can do Lufthansa, United. I haven't had good luck finding United flights. Oh, they didn't show it. Well, I want to also tell you Air Canada is another really good option. Let me just log in here. This is one that I talked about last week 100%. So if you were on last week, this is a little bit of repeat information, but I want to share this just because I think it's fairly comparable to some of those other ones. What did we see already? We saw 50,000 points one way on Iberia. That's a Chase transfer partner. We saw 45,000 points needed to transfer to Virgin Atlantic. We get the 30% bonus within the transfer. Then we could book using Air France. Aeroplan. Gotta email me a code. Come on. So on Aeroplan, I think I have this information. Might not just be able to show you real fast. It was 140,000 points plus $236 is for two people. So roughly 70,000 points one way. So I think this is a really good range of what you can expect to need to fly business class to Europe. If you don't want to do business class, if you're willing to do economy or premium economy, you're going to find even cheaper rates, right? And all of these flights very accessible through one or two credit cards, right? Help you get there. I know people that really start to get into this, maybe they'll get one or two cards so they can experience like a honeymoon of their choosing. But then I think what happens is you tend to get a little hooked. It can get a little addictive. And as long as you're practicing good financial fiscal responsibility, you can really take advantage of some really good offers, really good cards throughout your lifetime and take advantage of it. So let's see here. Aeroplan. Book a flight. I guess I'm already on here. Book points with Aeroplan, JFK to Geneva. Literally, you can pick any Monday. I did the same exact thing last week. So apologize if this is redundant for you. But New York to Geneva. This is it's gonna show Swiss Airlines. Man, where's my my nonstop? How is this happening? Literally, I've looked like every day to be able to find it. Let's go to August. I don't think there's September. I've been looking for September for our personal trip, but I don't think their flights are released yet. So here's a really good one. Really good use case. They fly out of JFK every day at 7:25, nonstops Geneva. It's about just under an 8-hour flight and 60,000 points with $76 Canadian one way. So another really great option. This Aeroplan is a transfer partner of Chase. There's three transfer partners that you can use your Chase points to help get you there. If you're willing to go economy, look at that, 35,000 points. Get you to Geneva, right? From there, a lot. If you've been to Europe and done any airfare in Europe, like you'll know this, but there are a ton of cheap airlines in Europe. My wife and I have flown EasyJet, and you can get from let's check this out, Geneva to Rome. Let's do one way. Oh, here's our map. Look at this. This is all in euros, but 34, 44, don't pick the 261, but 45, like these are cheap flights. It's kind of like a Spirit Airlines of Europe. Ryanair is also another one. I think EasyJet is a little bit more reliable than Ryanair, in my opinion. Some people disagree. That's fine. And they, just like Spirit Airlines, if you're familiar, they will try to like nickel and dime you with a lot of different things. So like you'll see like the fare is, super cheap, but then it takes like 1,000 next steps. So do you only want the one small bag under your seat, or do you also need a large bag that you're taking with you, and you get up front seat, speedy boarding? Do you need to check a bag, right? And so then look, it's going to add, it's like $62. CHF. What is CHF? Euro. Swiss. We don't need that. It's $2. $43. Add 64. So you're probably looking about $100 a person, like for this flight. But I think it's like, look, it's like an hour and a half flight, right? To get from Geneva to Rome. So doing something like this, use your points to fly the 8 hours. And then once you get there, spend $100 on EasyJet, and we could get down to Rome. So like that's an option for us. So right now, just still trying to convince my wife to let us go. But that's kind of the plan. So I think that's where we're going to end it today. If you're still on and you have any questions, drop it in the chat. I'll try to answer it before I jump off. Sorry, Iberia, not there anymore. Chase. Cool. All right, all. I think that's going to be it for tonight. So hope you had a good one. If you weren't here earlier, this is Arizona, Sedona, Arizona. My wife and I went there in 2020 using our Southwest Companion Pass, and had a great time. But this is in honor of the Diamondbacks. My Tampa Bay Rays are out of the playoffs, so we're cheering on the Diamondbacks. Let's go Snakes alive. And thanks, Tampa Travel. Appreciate you hanging out. So, hey, hope you had a good night hanging out. Hope you learned something. I learned a few things, and I'll be back next Monday night. Appreciate all you. Have a good one.